Some things in the world are up to us while others are not. Up to us are our faculties of judgment, motivation, desire, and aversion. In short, everything that is our own doing. Not up to us are our body and property, our reputations, and our official positions. In short, everything that is not our own doing. If you think things naturally servile are free and that things not our own are ours, you will be frustrated, pained, and troubled, and you will find fault with gods and men. But if you think you own only what is yours, and that you do not own what is not yours, as you really don't, no one will ever put pressure on you, no one will impede you, you will not reproach anyone, you will not blame anyone, you will not do a single thing reluctantly, no one will harm you, you will have no enemy, because nothing harmful will happen to you. Make it your habit to tell every jarring thought or impression, you are just an appearance and in no way the real thing. Keep in mind that desire presumes you're getting what you want and that aversion presumes you're avoiding what you don't want, and that not getting what we want makes us unfortunate, while encountering what we don't want makes us miserable. It is not things themselves that trouble people, but their opinions about things. Uneducated people blame others when they are doing badly. Those whose education is underway blame themselves. But a fully educated person blames no one, neither himself nor anyone else. Don't preen yourself on any distinction that is not your own. If the preening horse should say, "I am beautiful," it would be acceptable. But when you are preening and say, "I have a beautiful horse," admit that you are preening yourself on a good quality that belongs to the horse. When you are on a voyage and the boat is at anchor, if you disembark to get water, you may pick up a little shellfish and vegetable on the way, but you need to keep your mind fixed on the boat and keep turning around in case the captain calls. And if he does call, you must drop all those things, to avoid being tied up and stowed on board like the sheep. That's how it is in life too. If you are given a little wife and child, instead of a little vegetable and shellfish, that will not be a problem. But if the captain calls you, run to the boat and leave all those things without even turning around. And if you are old, never go far from the boat in case you are missing when he calls. In all circumstances, keep in mind to turn into yourself and ask what resources you have for dealing with these things. If you see a good-looking man or woman, you will find self-control the appropriate power. If pain afflicts you, you will find endurance. If rudeness, you will find patience. By developing these habits, you will not be carried away by your first impressions. If you want to make progress, don't mind appearing foolish and silly where outward things are concerned, and don't wish to appear an expert. Even if some people think you are somebody, distrust yourself. Our master is anyone who has the power to implement or prevent the things that we want or don't want. Whoever wants to be free, therefore, should wish for nothing or avoid nothing that is up to other people. Failing that, one is bound to be a slave. Keep in mind that you should always behave as you would do at a banquet. Something comes around to you. Stretch out your hand and politely take a portion. It passes on, don't try to stop it. It has not come yet, don't let your appetite run ahead, but wait till the portion reaches you. Keep in mind that you are an actor in a play that is just the way the producer wants it to be. It is short, if that is his wish, or long, if he wants it long. If he wants you to act the part of a beggar, see that you play it skillfully. And similarly, if the part is to be a cripple or an official or a private person, your job is to put on a splendid performance of the role you have been given, but selecting the role is the job of someone else. You can always win if you only enter competitions where winning is up to you. When you see someone honored ahead of you or holding great power or being highly esteemed in another way, be careful never to be carried away by the impression and judge the person to be happy. For if the essence of goodness consists in things that are up to us, there is room for neither envy nor jealousy, and you yourself will not want to be a praetor or a senator or a consul, but to be free. The only way to achieve this is by despising the things that are not up to us. Keep in mind that what injures you is not people who are rude or aggressive, but your opinion that they are injuring you. So whenever someone provokes you, be aware that the provocation really comes from your own judgment. Start, then, by trying not to get carried away by the impression. Once you pause and give yourself time, you will more easily control yourself. Set before your eyes everyday death and exile and everything else that looks terrible, especially death. Then you will never have any mean thought or be too keen on anything. If you stick to those same views, the people who used to laugh at you will admire you later, but if you lapse from them, you will be a laughingstock for a second time. If you ever find yourself looking for outside approval in order to curry favor, you can be sure that you have lost your way. Be satisfied, then, simply to be a philosopher, and if you want people to think of you that way as well, appear so to yourself, and that will be sufficient. Your country does not have shoes because of the blacksmith or weapons because of the cobbler. It is enough if each person performs his own job. You cannot expect to get an equal share of the things that are not up to us without doing the same things others have done. You were not invited to someone's dinner party. That's because you didn't pay the host the price of the dinner. He sells it for flattery, for getting attention. Pay the price it's sold for, then, if you think it's worth it. But if you want to get it without paying up, you are being greedy and stupid. Do you have nothing instead of the dinner? Of course you do. You don't have to flatter the man you didn't want to flatter or to deal with the crowd around his door. When your own cup gets broken, acknowledge that you should be just the way you were when that happened to the other person's cup. Wherever people's interest lies, that's also the site of their reverence. If you are careful, then, to focus your desires and aversions where you should, you will be equally careful about reverence. A companion's crudeness is bound to rub off on the one he is with, no matter how refined that person may be. Whenever you do something you have decided ought to be done, never try to avoid being seen doing it, even if people in general may disapprove of it. If, of course, your action is wrong, just don't do it at all, but if it's right, why be afraid of people whose criticism is off the mark? If you have taken on a role beyond your capacity, you have demeaned yourself in it, and you have also passed up the role you could have filled creditably. Every situation has two handles, as it were, one making it supportable and the other insupportable. If your brother mistreats you, don't fasten on the mistreatment, that is the insupportable handle of the situation, but on the other handle instead, that he is your brother, the boy you were raised with, and then you will fasten onto the situation in the way that makes it supportable. Don't ever describe yourself as a philosopher or talk much among ordinary people about your philosophical principles. Simply do what the principles prescribe. At a dinner party, for instance, don't discuss table manners. Just eat nicely. Sheep don't show how much they have eaten by bringing their fodder to the shepherds. They digest it inside their bodies, and on the outside produce wool and milk. Don't then, in your case, show off your philosophical principles to ordinary people, but show the actions that come from them once the principles have been absorbed. The stance and hallmark of ordinary persons is never looking for help or harm from themselves, but only from things that are on the outside. The signs of a person making progress are these: criticizing nobody, praising nobody, blaming nobody, accusing nobody, and saying nothing about oneself to indicate being someone or knowing something. Whenever such a person is frustrated or impeded, he accuses himself. If he's complimented, he laughs to himself at the one paying the compliment, and if he's criticized, he doesn't defend himself.